been happening. Now, over to you, Kwadwo Poku. I nearly called you Kwadwo Poku. Kwadwo Poku, what is your understanding of this? And what does it mean for the fight against Galamsey?
Okay, Ben, thank you for the introduction and putting the context, putting the whole picture in context. Look, as far as Kwadwo Poku am concerned, the words of the former minister is not allegation.
Okay.
For me, it's not allegation. He was a minister. He supervised what was going on. He was in charge. He got briefing. He had all the facts on his table. So what he comes out to say, and bear in mind, Bert, that document is not being written now. It's not like he got up and decided to write that document. That document was given to government in 2021. So it's an old document that never saw the day of light. And the minister or the former minister is bringing it to bear. Now, the reason I say that what the minister says is not allegation is that I have had an instance of reading a letter from Mr. Kwadwo N, okay, and Mr. Kwadwo N basically did not deny the fact he called him and
just to clarify, which Kwadwo N are you referring to? Are you referring to
is the crusading guy?
Okay, I just wanted you to clarify that.
Okay, yes. And he, in his letter, which I saw on social media, I wasn't sure if that's true, is a true document, but he goes on to now sort of confirm some of the things that the former minister said, but only tried to clarify the point that he was only seeking an appointment for a friend. And at the latter end, even render some level of apology. Then let's go to my brother Gabi's interview. For me, I would have rather wished Gabi had not said anything on air or on TV. Because, look, prospecting license is different from a mining lease. One of the things that people don't know about me, Kwadwo Poku, is that I think I have done almost everything in the face of this earth. I once had a mining concession in Asankregwa called Poku Mining. Okay? And that concession was from Dunkwao all the way to Asankregwa through Nananko. Now, I was granted a prospecting license.
So that's in the Offin area, right? In the Offin area.
Dunkwao Offin area. Because you go through Dunkwao Offin to Nananko all the way to Asankregwa. And my mining lease, my concession was about 50 kilometers square. Now, I was given a prospecting license. Now, let me tell you what a prospecting license do. You are supposed to take samples from the site, dig some trenches, and basically take those samples to the lab for processing. Now, if somebody tells me that the equipment that you need for mining is the same equipment you need for prospecting, that person doesn't know what he's talking about. And for me, it was sad that Mr. Ochidako said that the document, the equipment, he asked and he was told that the equipment you need for prospecting is the same equipment you need for mining. It's not true. They are two. Prospecting is like going on to do exploration. You are exploring to see if there is gold on the site. So that's what the prospecting license allows you to do. But in Ghana, we are all aware that people have been abusing the prospecting license. They go into Minerals Commission to get prospecting license and use the prospecting license to now enter the land and start mining. While meanwhile, they don't do any prospecting. So it's a known fact that the prospecting license is being abused. And clearly, not only one minister, but other ministers have written to the company to tell them that, look, this is what you are doing. Clearly, they have documentary evidence to show what the gentleman or the company involved was doing. So to now say that you are not aware of any breaches that your client was doing and you are only finding out was very strange. But look, my brother, I think that we've lost the fight in Galamsey not because we don't have the will. We've lost the fight on Galamsey because the president, okay, should have had a no policy. Not some, not if, not no. Now, let me tell you something. If Gabi knew the anger and the frustration and the fury of the president when it comes to Galamsey, I don't think he would have taken anybody as a client if that person came to him with Galamsey issues. Because as you rightfully said, you see, the word Galamsey is used loosely. But in that letter, in that point that you put out, there are so many activities that comes under Galamsey. Because there is a law that says that you should mine or stay away from certain meters from a water bank. Not the water body, the bank of the river. You are supposed to stay away from a certain meters away from that. You are not supposed to put any chemicals or put any tailings into the river body. You are not supposed to have foreigners in small-scale mining. All these are classified as Galamsey. Okay? Now,
some others have also accused him that he was also engaged in a number of things. Some of these people whose names have been pointed out. But when you go to myjoyonline.com, which is where we're going to continue from here, I'll let you land. I'll just introduce some interesting aspects of what you've said. There is that quote there. You know, I did not operate mining information service, Professor Frimpong Boateng, responding to Gabi Otredako. But what I find curious, so government says the allegations contained in Professor Frimpong Boateng's report are at best, hearsay. You are saying you disagree. They are saying it's a catalogue of his grievances, personal grievances. Maybe he's getting emotional. That is what they are saying. So I have two questions just to wrap on this so we move on to other pertinent matters. Where then does that leave us in the fight against Galamsey? Mind you, Mr. President said he would put his presidency on the line. According to most of the reports we've seen, according to our reporters going out there to look at the state of our water bodies, things have become much worse. Then point number two, staying with the president. You say if the president had known that Gabi was engaging in all of this, representing people mired in Galamsey and all of that, he would have been furious. But I ask, if the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, had been as furious as you claim he would be, wouldn't this report have seen the light of day much earlier, until now some 2 years on? Quick reflections on that so we move on.
No, you see, I normally, unless there are clear evidence on the table, I always like to isolate and insulate the high office of the presidency. And this is the reason why. The letter from Mr. Frimpong, from Professor Frimpong Manson's
Frimpong Boateng.
Yes, from the former minister's statement, he gave the report to the chief of staff, not to the president. Now, let me make this statement. There is a cabinet for a reason. And for me, I think in governance in Ghana, we've lost it. Professor Frimpong Boateng is a cabinet minister. If he could come out and show us a cabinet memo where this document or these things that he has gotten information was discussed, that would take this conversation to a whole new level. Because bear in mind, cabinet is where sensitive information, things that you need the president's attention, is discussed. Now, we don't have that. He's saying that he gave it to the chief of staff. So the next question is, did the chief of staff give it to the president? The fact that something was given to the chief of staff doesn't mean that it got to the president. So for me, that is where I said that until there is hard proof on the table, I like to insulate the high office of presidency. That is why I said what I said. Because one, if the reason the Jubilee House or the office of the president can come out and say that, look, these are unfounded, blah, 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 because for all you know, yes, he went to the chief of staff and the chief of staff sat on the matter. He never got to the next floor. Okay? So the point is, why didn't Professor Frimpong Boateng take this to cabinet? If he felt so strongly about it, why isn't there a cabinet memo of this discussion? Because in his report, he gives us a cabinet reference.
Let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. Looking at the names he mentions, cabinet ministers are pointed at in these what you say are not allegations, okay? For you, they are factual. I mean, there's a lot of truth to them. How do you feel that would have panned out in cabinet, at a cabinet meeting, for a cabinet minister to put this forward with other cabinet ministers? What do you think would have happened? It would have been a melee, wouldn't it?
Isn't that where the most frank conversation is supposed to be had? When, as a minister, because look, if he's trying to tell us he is the person we want him to be, Ben, can you imagine, like me, Kwadwo N Poku, have something like that and I'll take it to cabinet? Hell yeah, I'll take it to cabinet. I would like to see the fight at cabinet. That's how I am. I will take this document to cabinet and in front of the president and the vice president, mention the names and see what goes around the table. I will do that because that's the kind of person I am. But listen, like you're saying, now there's counter accusation of him. I have seen documents of certain things involving him on social media. I don't know how far that is true. But what I'm saying is that today, him coming out with some of these things, the conversation will be different if we would have heard that, hey, have you heard there was a fight or rancus or uproar at cabinet when the minister came and mentioned certain people around the table who are doing Galamsey and put it to the president to stop it, and then what next? That is the way forward.
All right. Let's make tracks from there. We'll have a full conversation on that. But of course, since you're not going to be part of that conversation, I just wanted your take on